That was a complete domination by the Dallas Mavericks. I'll just say this: the Kings were outcoached and outplayed in every single facet of the first half. The Mavericks' attention to detail, guys, in that first half was flawless. Their defensive rotation, their dribble penetration, their domination of the paint on both sides of the ball, they played almost a perfect half.
Well, there was no question about it. I mean, the Kings' offense, wasn't even existent at all, and then defensively it wasn't existent. So if you're dominated on offense and defense, this is what you get. And as you pointed out, I mean, really the Mavs, they were able to make it a half-court game when they wanted to, and of course they're much better in the half court. And if you can't stop a team, you can't get out in the open court.
Yeah, 7 made buckets, 10 turnovers in the second quarter. Bad time to have your worst quarter of the season that I remember. And I thought the Kings, Jerry, came out and played really good defense initially with Anthony Davis.
I did too. I thought the first quarter was a very solid first quarter. And then just a disastrous second quarter. I mean, obviously the Mavs getting good production from the bench, Kings really not. And so that's part of it, but really not a single starter for the Kings really was effective. Every starter was ineffective in my mind.
I thought Klay Thompson turned the game around when he got hot. And then there was one play on the wing where Carter was guarding Klay and was doing a tremendous job in denying the ball. And then all of a sudden, Klay didn't have the ball and got two guys on him, and it led to a dribble drive basket. Here's the thing that kind of surprised me in the first half. The Kings want to get out and run. They want to take advantage of the Mavs bigs and change sides of the floor. But it was the Mavs who were out running in the first half. And when the Mavs wanted to go half court, they could. The Mavs could do whatever they wanted to do in the first half. Whether they wanted to run, whether they want to go half court, they could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, it's all predicated on made baskets. I mean, in other words, the Mavs were scoring. So the Kings take it out of bounds and have to play half court. They play half court. They can't really score against the Mavs half court defense. And so they're missing shots. And the Mavs are in the open court running the ball down their throats and really getting easy transition opportunities. So it's a make or miss league. And you're seeing a perfect example of that here in the first half because it's a miss game for the Kings.
Well, look, 11 of the 12 turnovers are from the starters, and certainly the starters and the players need to go out and play. But quite frankly, the offense they're being asked to run looks very basic, Jerry. It doesn't look like anything that is too hard to figure out for the Mavericks.
Yeah, very predictable. I say this is a game really, too, where you'd really like to be able to play some high screen roll because that would drag get the bigs involved for the Mavs and space them out. But Malik Monk's really about the only guy that can run that with any effectiveness. Right. And so now, as you pointed out, it's really the dribble handoffs, kind of dribble around in circles, really very, as Grant, you guys pointed out, I mean, very predictable and easy to defend, really.
There's no way the Kings can win this game if LaVine and DeRozan don't get going. And I got to give the Mavericks a lot of credit. I thought defensively in the first half, their game plan was very solid. But listen, the game's not over, all right? We've seen the Kings come back from big deficits, but it's going to be over if those two guys don't get going. I said before the game began, I thought they needed to score 25 each for the Kings to win this game. And they got a long way to go to get to there.
Well, I agree with you there. I mean, those two guys you got to get 50 points probably to win. And then Sabonis has got to be effective, and he was totally ineffective. And so, the Mavs, to their credit, I think they know that. They really have taken the inside game away from Sabonis, and then both DeRozan and Zach LaVine haven't really got anything going much.
Yeah, completely with you. I'm going to say it has to be Zach LaVine because if you're going to play at a DeMar DeRozan pace, that's not going to help the team. The Zach LaVine pace gets them out and running, a little bit more chaotic. Get Keon Ellis some more shots. He's 3 of 4 from the field. Get some other guys touching the ball and at least make the Mavs defend, Jerry.
Yep. But Jerry, I'm going to interrupt for a second, but you just hit it right on the head, Jerry. You can't run if you don't have the ball, and if you're not able to stop the Mavs from scoring, that it starts on that side of the floor.
Well, it really does. I mean, and we saw the Mavs that second quarter. I mean, the first quarter was even Steven. Both teams kind of, could play a little half court, little open court. But the second quarter, it was all Mavericks in the open court, and Kings had to play half court offense the entire time. And then they were stymied. There's no doubt about it. The Kings, if they have to play half court offense, they can't win the game or they can't even make it close. They've got to be able to get out and run, not only run, score the ball, and then press and extend the game, get pick up the pace. And so that was their hope. We saw a little of it in the first quarter, none of it in the second.
Yeah, but basically the 3-point shooting from the Mavericks is Brandon Williams and Klay Thompson. You can possibly get one of those guys to cool off a little bit and create those opportunities. You just can't go under screens on those guys like we saw multiple times there in that first half.
Or just ball movement and find an open shooter
Yeah.
a couple of times. I mean, Klay, Klay's not the Klay of the Splash Brothers, but he's looking like it tonight.
They more than doubled up the Kings, 44-19 in the second quarter.
Yeah. 40.
Yeah.
When you give up 40,
issue,
when you give up
Jerry?
44, you're in a hole, that's for sure.
the other issue is the attention to detail by the Mavs is what impressed me the most in that first half. Just you can tell their game plan is not only solid, but they were able to execute that. Listen, I would love to see the Kings come back and win this game. But I just don't think the Mavs are going to come out and play any differently than they just did in the first half. Do I think they're going to score 71? No, I don't. But defensively, their game plan is so solid. I know you just said, Jerry, what you thought the Kings needed to do, but man, this is maybe too big of a hole to climb out of. I'm not very optimistic at all right now that the Kings can get back into this game.
Well, I'm not either. And I mean, and partly because just of what you've talked about. I mean, the Mavs are a good defensive team right now.
Yeah.
With the length and the height that they've got. And if they can keep the Kings really in the half court, it's going to be tough for the Kings to get enough points. That's all there is to it. And so, yeah, I mean, the Mavs haven't been healthy until right at the end of the year, but they've got three big guys that are lively athletes.
Jerry,
Ryan, the best chance the Kings have to win this game is all three of us pick the Mavs to win.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Mavs win.
That's the only proven for sure thing.
Jerry, we didn't really see any of the zone defense. Does that give you maybe a little bit of hope if you're the Kings fans in the second half?
Well, I think they need to try it. I really do. I think they could cover the 3-point shooting better. And I think with we get more size in there with Sabonis and Valanciunas, I think you could, I don't know that it'd work, but I know what they're doing isn't working. How's that?
Well, I know one thing. The Kings are going to need probably a 40-point quarter in either the third or the fourth to win this game. That's the one thing I would say. They're going to have an explosion here in either the third or the fourth of a 40-point quarter.
Yeah, they've got to jump out in the third quarter and chop 10 points off right away to feel like they got a chance in this game. So they need a Kings run just at the start of the quarter.
Well, Ryan, I'll let you go first. Give me a score.
I think the Kings will make a run, but it's too much to overcome, as much as it pains me to say. I'm going to say Dallas, who has not been scoring the ball well as of late, 126, and I'm going to say Sacramento 109.
I've got the Mavs probably 122, Kings 107. I
got the Mavs 131, the Kings 109, which means that we'll be talking about how the beam is lit. The Kings were a completely different team in the second half. We'll be predicting what's going to happen in the Memphis game.
Yeah.
Because
Levine
I don't know, every
Levine
single time we pick the same team, right? We're all
Oh
my God.
All year. I mean, that's one thing about it. Yeah, Levine goes for 30 and maybe Devin Carter comes off the bench and gets 15. I mean, yeah, hey, it's the NBA. Anything can happen. But from what we've seen, it's not encouraging.
No, it is not encouraging. The reason why I don't think it's encouraging is the Mavs have been scoring in a lot of different ways. And defensively, they're doing exactly what they want to. I could see the Kings getting hot. I could see them making shots, but I just don't see Dallas not being able to play similarly the way they did in the first half. I'm not talking about scoring 7-1. I'm talking about the way they're playing. And as you said, Jerry, they're a good defensive team. It's not going to be easy to score 70 points, which is what the Kings are going to have to score in the second half to have a chance. They're probably going to have to score more than 70 against this Mavs defense. Boy, that is a tall, tall order.
Yeah, you hit on it. I mean, that's the way you have to look at it. I mean, the Kings to win needs to score 75 or more and
Right.
hold them to 50 or
Yeah.
so. And I don't think either thing can happen.
Yeah.
It starts on the perimeter. Surprisingly enough, with the bigs, the defense down low has not been awful. The perimeter defense has been terrible.
Yeah. Yep.
No, couldn't agree more. I mean, that's where it all breaks down on a consistent basis.
The best thing about that first half is that it ended and the Kings got a chance to go off the floor and maybe regain some composure. If we had not had a stoppage and this game kept on going on, the Kings might be down by 40 right now. So we've seen momentum change. We saw it last night in the Warriors-Memphis game. It changed considerably. The Memphis Grizzlies were down, 20? And they came
20.
back and tied it. They had a chance to win. Just keep playing. Just keep playing.
Well, it is the NBA, and like you say, you
Yeah.
see it every night. You see it, it is the NBA, and you make a few threes, and the other team maybe starts missing a few, but it's all going to determine, in my mind anyway, first 3 or 4 minutes. They've got to chop into the lead. If they can feel like they got a shot at it, because 20 points isn't impossible to make up, but you've got to cut into it early on.
And I want to talk about the ramifications. Another bad half is not going to bode well for Doug Christie and Monty McNair. And I'm not saying you should base their future on one play-in game, but I also know who the owner is. And this would be an embarrassment for this franchise to get booed in a play-in game and get blown off the floor. So you better believe this is a big second half for a couple of individuals that are looking at regaining and retaining their employment.
I'm pretty sure they know that, don't you think? I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And of course, fans, as we all are, we always remember the last game. And so that's, so you don't want to leave it with a stinker. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
boy.
Grant, what you just said, a play-in, I've never imagined boos towards the Kings at a play-in or a playoff game.
Well, you're going to hear it tonight if they get off to a bad start and this thing gets to be uglier. You'll hear it tonight. All right.
We've already
And I'm
heard
hoping-
some. We've already heard some.
Yeah, but you're really going to hear it. So let's hope this Kings team can come out and show some vigor here. First 4 to 6 minutes in the third quarter will be huge. Jerry, I hope this isn't the last halftime we have with you this year.
Well, I hope it isn't either.
Yeah.
Hey, well, let's just work on the George Costanza stance, and whatever we think's going to happen will be the opposite. That's about all we got now.
Amen. We'll be on after the game. Jerry, appreciate you. Ryan, we'll talk to you in about an hour or so, buddy.
Looking forward to it. Taking your calls tonight, too. Win or lose.
Cross your fingers. We'll see what happens. Thank you, everybody.